take up with it. Somewhere. Yeah.
Not a priority, but can you?
They can hear you.
Huh?
They can hear you.
Can it be? What's the word I'm looking for? My mind's gone. Not copy. Not video.
What do you mean? I can't even see it. It's testing.
Put it on there,
Yeah. So when you put on the
right where it was.
no,
Which
put it up higher, like all the way up to like this direction. Like when you see how it's up there, put it all the way up to that way.
towards you?
Yeah.
So will you run down and just do that? Because I don't know. I mean I don't want
No,
to.
you had it. You just put it under the board. Up on top.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
you can
that's it.
come down and show me.
But I just don't want it to disconnect.
fix the. Put it right.
It doesn't slide off.
Yeah, just make sure it doesn't slide.
Where's that running range at?
You good?
Where's Henry? He's supposed to.
I don't know. I'll check the other room.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you all for coming. My name is Brad. That's not important at all. We're going to talk a bit about Donald and Jesus. How's that? So we're going to celebrate the life of a remarkable guy. Anytime you agree with me, just go, yeah. All right? So how did you know Don? Let's find out. How many are family? Family. Goodness, what a family. How many of you are from Marysville area? Quite a few, all right? How many knew him as a friend? Just a friend. Family should raise their hands too. No. Neighbors? Any neighbors here? Okay. Some people are scratching their head, they're not sure. Any work? Okay? That's pretty good. It's a lot of things to a lot of people. That was done. Okay, second purpose is to give us all really a chance to reflect on how we might want to improve on how we live our lives in the days and years to come. There might be some takeaways. And just a thought, you might jot something down on your bulletins. I want you to know, these are the nicest bulletins I've ever seen at a funeral. Nicely done. So there's room to do that, and maybe you can borrow a pen, kind of for future reflection. And you might think of some memories you might want to share during our open mic time. And now, Larry, come on.
Yep, there we go. Okay. Don was born June 21st, 1955 in Seattle, Washington to Don and Christine Stormo Lyons. His childhood years were spent in Marysville, Washington, where he graduated from Marysville High School in 1973. He was married to Coral Estes on October 10th, 1975. Weyerhaeuser Pulp Mill in 1973 till his division was shut down, transferring to the Cosmopolis Weyerhaeuser in 1981. He moved his family to Montesano, Washington, and continued to work at the pulp mill until it shut down in 2006. After that, he worked for Paneltech International in Aberdeen, Washington, then retired from his working years at Kimberly-Clark in Everett, Washington. family rejoices knowing that they will be united with him one glad day.
So, Joe, come in.
What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. All because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Sing along with the second two verses. Every trials and temptations, is there trouble anywhere? We shall never be discouraged. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Can we find a friend so faithful, who will all your sorrows share? Jesus knows our every weakness. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Are we weak and heavy laden, cumbered with a load of care? Precious Savior, still our refuge. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Do thy friends despise forsake thee? Take it to the Lord in prayer. In his arms he'll take and shield thee. Thou wilt find a solace there. The reason why I chose this song is very special. Tom is a good friend. We've known each other since I was 14 and he was 13. When they first moved into the big house up on the hill. We became best friends through the years. He was always so kind and so thoughtful. But as we got older, he got scary. He got his first motorcycle, his Honda 90. I've never flew through the power lines as fast as that ever in my life. Riding on the back of that thing, hanging on to him for dear life. And then he got his driver's license. And one day he called me up, hey, come out to Monroe with me. I want to go look at a boat motor. I had never flown through Monroe back streets like that, ever. But we got there and we survived. Don was always there for you if you needed anything. We used to call him Donnie in the early years. And then it got to a point where he wanted to be called Don. And if anybody ever called him Donnie, he wouldn't even answer him, wouldn't even look at him until you called him Don. But I'll sure miss him. I'll miss his calls every once in a while, just to see how you're doing. We always try to keep in touch with one another. And when I got the news about his last fall, I happened to be down at the Nazarene Convention in Olympia. And right there in the church when I got the call from Cheryl. And then when I got the call about his massive heart attack, that about gave me one because it was on my birthday when it happened. I was hoping we could all live to see 70 together. But God willing, he's in a better place. He's no more in pain. And he's up there enjoying the celebration with his mom and dad and his brothers. And someday we will be there with him. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in the church. I wouldn't be singing Christian songs. He got me to come to church when I was a young teenager. And him and his brother Mike, they were a force to deal with, but they were a lot of fun. We had good times. Thank you so much.
Well, now think about your stories, but we're going to start with family. And it's only right that we should start with Cheryl because she knew him the longest. So, Cheryl said to me, Don was always creative, always was taking things apart to see how they worked. And sometimes he put them back together. And sometimes they worked again. He also invented things. Mom and Dad let him. When the stuff piled up in his room, he had to move it. So this is from Coral. some of her thoughts. These aren't all her thoughts, these are some of her thoughts. I asked her, I said, what attracted you to Don in the first place? You saw that picture, high school picture. Did you know him in high school, Coral? No? Okay. That's good, that's okay. What attracted me was that he was a little crazy. A little on the wild side. And just saw calm and laid back Coral. So think of that. A bunch of us were friends and we all hung out. We played games like croquet or board games, other games. He was inventive. He worked on motors and cars. Some of his inventions worked and some didn't. I think we heard some of that earlier. Don really cared about people more than anything. He was concerned about everybody, and he would invite people to follow Jesus. Their soul was so important to him. Together, I'm not going to do this just because I'm tearing up a little bit. Don't worry about it. Together, we enjoyed road trips, South Dakota, Mount Rushmore, Denver, Utah. Did you go to the parks? Okay, that's still in front of you, Coral. Wyoming, Texas, Dallas, Waco, Leavenworth, Plains in eastern Washington. He collected. He did not want to sell anything. He collected. He was very funny and weird. Just saying, that's some of her thoughts. He was MacGyver. How many agree with that? He was MacGyver. He could jury-rig anything, make it work. He could figure anything out. We had an old station wagon and went out in the woods, and no spare, of course. Got a flat tire. So he found a piece of rubber, put super glue in the hole, glued the patch on, pumped it up, and we made it back to town. So, 2 words from Coral, MacGyver and collector. Okay? Those are 2, if you want to write those words down to remember. Those are the 2. Now, here is from the youngster, and she did this great document. Who is my dad? My dad is Don Lyons, born in Seattle, was the oldest of 4 children, with one whom he recently met in heaven for the first time. My dad was a character with a unique personality. He loved with all the kids out at the Gadwa's and countless Sunday night after church beach trips with the Gadwa's or the youth group. He also loved garage sailing, especially with my grandpa or his friend Beaver. With that, I would say he stored up too many treasures on earth, which always made my mom so happy. Wait a minute. I visited the folks' place. I met Mom and Dad, and I realize now that was the clue of why he was how he was with his treasures on earth. Unbelievable. They would roll up to a garage sale and see a table they would want first dibs on. So they would pretend they were getting into an argument to clear the place out and have the table all to themselves. Are you taking notes? Oh, okay. I almost forgot about his 40th birthday when my mom rented a limo to take him and good friends Joe and Linda Nichols and their boys garage sailing. My dad was so mad he was yelling, "It's just going to ruin it." I guess he thought they were going to miss out on some good deals. It was, however, entertaining to follow behind and watch people's reactions as the 5 of them would arrive to a yard sale in a limo like celebrities to go look at junk. All joking aside, my dad also stored up treasures in heaven. He had a heart for and cared about people. He would always jump in to help someone in need. He would take a loss for himself to help others if that's what it took. He knew and understood what it meant. Come on, Don. What it meant to have a relationship with Jesus, and because of his salvation, I know he has already been reunited with family and friends who also had that same understanding. Because of that hope, I know we never said goodbye to my dad, but said, "See you later." Good job, Carmen. Okay, let me see. Open mic time. I gave you fair warning, and if some of you want to come all the way up here, you can. That's what this is for. And if not, I have this handy dandy little hand mic, and I will come to you. Okay, I see that hand.
When we came to this church, we used to have this family Christmas night. And Dawn, the first time we did this, Dawn brought a big overstuffed chair and put it on the platform and interviewed older people from the church and asked them what Christmas was like when they were young. And it was such a neat idea, and he wanted to include the older people, and that was such a blessing. I can remember that he and I would get into discussions about political things, and it was always lively. I mean, we agreed, but he would get pretty concerned about stuff. And he did care deeply about people. If I remember correctly, he was kind of responsible for starting a deal where during the winter we would go out on the streets at night and hand out hot coffee to the homeless people, and coats and things. And I was telling Coral it drove me crazy because he'd disappear all by himself down the dark alleys. And I'd think, "Oh, Don, please." But just hearing some of these stories, I understand. And one other thing that I thought about was that one night Coral and Dawn and I, we're going to meet here and do something out here in the foyer for the 75th anniversary of the church. And Dawn was always so willing to come and help. It was such a blessing. But on the way, I was rear-ended at a stoplight. And the car still drove, so I got here a little late. And when we were leaving the church, I turned around and saw Dawn under my car. And evidently it had shoved the exhaust stuff in. I don't know what. He came out with some junk that he pulled out of the pipe, and I just thought, if I recall correctly, he was beginning to have some health issues at that point, but there he was under the car. And I just remember him, and will always remember him as being kind and always willing to help. He was such a blessing to our church family.
That's good. You know that clock that's in the foyer over here, big clock? Coral found that, brought it to us. And he was always the kind of guy. I'm going to miss it. I'll see him happen soon. Okay, I'm wandering around in the back here. Here you go. Thank you. Over the last couple of weeks, I know we've all had an opportunity to recollect and think about Don and his many talents, and many of you have mentioned them already. Don was a process engineer. Didn't have the degree, but you can ask anyone at Weyerhaeuser, especially Cosmopolis or Kimberly Clark and Everett. Don, he had it figured out, and if more people would listen to him, these businesses would have been more successful. He was a smart guy. He was Dr. Don. You know, just ask Dr. Don. He was Don the barber too, and cut his own hair. Carmen, I don't know if you ever let him near yours or not, but he definitely took care of himself and wouldn't go to a barber for a long time. As you mentioned before, he was a treasure hunter. Again, though, it was treasures of the heart, and he was after men's hearts, and he countless times sat with friends that were down and out and really struggling with different addictions, and Don was just there. I mean, he was always there for people. And I guess the thing that really stands out most, he was never afraid to be inconvenienced for the work of the Lord. He was always on mission, and whatever he was doing, he put it to the side and was never about him. It was always about others.
My best memories of Don is when I was a kid. He was a young man, and I'll just say this: he spent a lot of time, just like everybody say, he cared about you, and had some good times with him going to the auction, buying chickens. He had the coolest chicken house I'd ever seen, and so good memories of the man. I got a chance to reminiscence a little bit of that. Even when he wasn't feeling good, it still brought a smile to his face, so that was good.
Okay, over here. Watch me back up. Okay. I like these people that elbow each other.
Okay, well, my name is Rosanna, and I've known Don and Coral for a long time. And I'm sorry, I'm a cry. Don loved to tease people. He really liked to tease me a lot, and he always would say things with such a serious look that I believe everything he said. And then he'd turn around and start laughing, and I would think, okay, he's not going to get me again. And every time he would get me again with that serious talk, and then he'd turn around and crack up thinking it was so funny. But he also had a heart of gold. He had a soft heart. And one day, I used to work for them at their businesses that they used to have. And one day, I was in there, and he came in, and he was bringing this is when they were selling jewelry. And we had the lights off, and a car pulled up, and then they pulled back away. And the next, he was facing me, and I was facing out, so I could see outside the door and the windows, and all of a sudden I seen all these police cars just flying up there. And they jump out of their car and they had their guns drawn, and he didn't see it. And I'm like, Don, don't move. I said, we are surrounded by police. And he goes, what's going on? And I'm like, don't make any sudden moves. I thought he was going to get blown away for sure, because he just turns around and he's like, walks over to the door, and all of a sudden he goes, what are you doing? And there's like, well, we heard there was a robbery going on here, an armed robbery going on. He's like, no, this is me. She works for me. But the person that came up thought I was being robbed by somebody because we hadn't had the lights on or anything. So, but anyway, that's one of the good memories that I've had with Don. I'll be able to cherish for the rest of my life. Anyway, he was a good guy. We love him, and we're going to miss him. And thank you.
Looks like the elbow didn't work.
Don was a good guy. I want you to know he still is a good guy. He's just got a new address. All right? Who else?